526-337-789-5266. Tell you what, folks, I'm good friend with the town of Jonesboro, Louisiana, Mayor Leslie Thompson. Mayor Leslie Thompson, of course, been, I would say, has been a victim. Here's a guy that had a bad situation when he came in more than a term ago. He's on his second term. And every year, it seems like these frivolous lawsuits come up where he's under a microscope from some of his constituency. Maybe those who didn't vote for him, but certainly residents there who just can't fathom the change of having the first black mayor of the town of Jonesboro. It's been a plethora of different things that, of course, he's come out on the side of righteousness in favor of him. But I tell you what, it was a setback just a week before last because we went to that trial. Let's go to the mayor and let's get an update on what's going on there. Good morning, Mayor. Welcome back to Eyes Open. How are you doing this morning?
Doing just fine. How you doing today, Tony?
We're fine. We're still praying for you. We came up there. We had the caravan of love up there when they had the little hearing, the trial. I guess it was a hearing rather a couple of months ago. And then, of course, the judge postponed his verdict, so to speak, until just a couple of weeks ago. And then we were told that the outcome, just as maybe your attorney suspected, wasn't that favorable towards you in the environment in which, of course, the trial was being held in that particular environment. So, was that a setback, and let's ask what's next?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on how we opt or choose to look at it. We expected that ruling. We want to thank you, first of all, Tony, for keeping this in the eyes and minds of the folk, because this is not just something that's happening in Jonesboro. We realize that it's happening, and there's attacks of black elected officials all over the country. And with me, of course, as you said, there has been just an ongoing relentless attack. I think we have now been charged with maybe hit with about maybe 40 different accusations. But yes, we want to thank you for coming down and showing support. Caravan of Love coming down. But that ruling, the judge ruled that we were actually, he said, operating with an unbalanced budget. And what's ironic about that is that this was the first budget that we could find in Jonesboro's book and history that actually showed a zero balance. So we knew we put forth a lot of work to make sure that it was an actual balanced and legal budget. But what floored us, and what seemed to have been a setback, and I think what folk are looking at, is that the judge not only ruled that it was unbalanced, but he also ruled that there was that it was done intentionally and knowingly. So when he added that, then it took it to a criminal level where they could now start to look at the possibility of malfeasance in office. Now, our lawyers, we want to give them a shout out. They've done a great job. The same lawyers that handled the Gina 6, that's Ms. Carol Lexon and Louis Scott. And it's their intent to have this ruling appealed in the appellate court within the next week.
Well, and for a judge to put within his judgment, so to speak, or his ruling, that it was done intentionally, to me, how would a judge know that based upon the information that we saw in the trial? Because it looked like you guys were trying to go above and beyond, do everything by the book, and in weekly contact with the legislative auditor's office.
Not only in contact with the legislative auditors did we do what we did, but we were also instructed step by step by our town attorney, who also testified to that effect. So it's when you have a kangaroo court, it's unfortunate that in this day, and I'm writing a memo out to the community now, telling us that there was a day and time when the color of the robe dictated the racist attitude of the individual. But in this day and time, we now have robes that are guys that are wearing black and sitting on the bench and handing out decisions like this, and the community has to come together to do something about it.
Well, and of course, why he put that in there is apparent, because there are some powers that be, or some people who just did not like the change. The fact that in Jonesboro, not only did you win the first election, but you overwhelmingly won again. Even when they tried to put a candidate against you, I think he backed out. But at what point is it just not worth it to be a public servant when you have just a minute?
It's interesting, and I ironic that you'd ask that because my daughter called me from Dallas the other day and she said, "Dad, why don't you just give that job up? why don't you just let it go? It's really not with it." But I told her, I said, you know, there are those of us who have been, there's a calling. When you are a public servant and when it's in you to help, and when you know that God has prepared you for a mission. This is what I have to do, and this is what King and those guys died for. So for me, there is no option. We will be planning a community meeting. As a matter of fact, we'll meet on Thursday here at 4:30, and then we'll schedule a rally, a community rally within the next, say, 3 weeks. And so we'll ask that you would keep the people posted. I'll keep you posted so that this time we can all come down and really see what we really need to do about this.
Put me, I tell you what, when y'all get the date, give me a call. We'll certainly try to make sure that we make ourselves available and to be down there. Whatever you need from us. I know you're a God-fearing man. You're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to serve your community. You're trying to serve the public. And because when Satan, tries to, of course, disturb what you're trying to do, move that city forward. And you said something very interesting. You said it's the first time ever y'all have ever in the town of Jonesboro's history that you've had a budget that, in your opinion, that had a zero balance. So you're telling me your predecessors, since there have been mayors of Jonesboro, basically have never had a balanced budget.
Let me say to you that it's even more ironic because one of the plaintiffs in this case happens to be the ex-mayor. And when I said to the ex-mayor, I said, "Look, your budget on every 4 years that you served showed a $500,000 expenditure more than you could see revenues coming in. 2 of those years it was more than $1 million. So for us to go beyond to make sure that our expenditures did not exceed $1 of expected revenue, it's really, I think people really have to come down or to really understand what we're really having to deal with and go through. When the judge made his ruling, one thing that he did to reach out to try to justify it, I think it's called its reasoning. He talked about back in 2010 when the budget showed a $204,000 deficit, and then he followed that to say, "Oh yes, but of course the 3 black," he didn't call them black, but the 3 black council members who are now on board were not members at that time, but the Mayor Thompson was." And I thought for a judge to go there when he knows that it is the responsibility of the council to vote to adopt or to not adopt, has nothing to do with the mayor. But he's throwing these kinds of things out there to somehow, for those that don't understand, to justify this ludicrous ruling.
Well, it's what we call black exceptionalism. It's the hypocrisy of it all is that town of Jonesboro has never had a balanced budget. And you had mayors that have, as you had mentioned, that had expenditures of over $1 million, and the fact that they're trying to accuse you and send you to jail as a result of something they've been doing since the town's inception.
That's right, and I need to, in all fairness to them, I want to say that they have made me an expert in budgetary law.
Amen.
Yes, and I'll say to you that when I told the judge, when I told the past mayor that there is a law under the Louisiana Governmental Act that allows an administration to actually have a deficit. And that law says that you can have that $1 million deficit if you have an outstanding, a balanced fund, a previous balanced fund that actually can take care and offset that. So I said to the guy that it's not a problem necessarily with me that your budget exceeded the revenues, but what I have the biggest problem with, that even if we had a $200,000 deficit, why does that law that worked for you not work for me? Because we certainly had the money in place that would have taken care of that $200,000 deficit that they are alluding to back in 2010. So it's just double standards is what we see.
Well, it's hypocrisy, and the bottom line is it's downright, let me call it what it is, it's because of the color of your skin.
Well, we get down to the bottom, yes.
God bless you. We're going to continue to pray for you, and when we get that rally set up that way, please give us a call. Get with me on the date. I want to make sure that I'm going to be available in
Right. We'll determine that date at the Thursday this week meeting, and I'll get back with you early part of next week.
God bless you, Mayor. We're going to continue to pray for you, okay?
Thank you, Tony. Keeping our eyes open.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good day.